Hello and welcome to this week's edition of the program Business Time. This is a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. And in the program today, we take you to some of the key tourism destinations in the country to appreciate the essence of domestic tourism. And also in the program, we analyze the performance of the tobacco marketing season this far. We have these and other stories. Stay tuned if you could.
I've got that feeling, that linger feeling. I've got that feeling, that linger feeling. I've got that feeling, that linger feeling. I've got that feeling, that linger feeling.
Made from fresh local fruits of mulberry, jambula, rosella, strawberry, plum, white guava and white peach, and naturally fermented for 1 or 2 years in our cool cellar, comes Malawi's own Linga. Here's to a smooth taste, unsurpassed quality, and distinctive fruit wines. When in Malawi, it has to be Linga.
Hello and welcome. In our main story in the program today, we take you to some of the tourism destination sites of the country. For quite some time, tourism has been seen as the next big thing for the Malawi economy. Of course, forex situation has been volatile, mainly because Malawi largely depends on tobacco as its export commodity, and volatility of the market entails poor performance of forex inflow into the country. Now, as the assertion suggests that tourism is the next big thing, what needs to be done? We take you to some of the tourism destination sites of the country to appreciate the essence of domestic tourism. It is a busy Thursday morning in the Blantyre Central Business District. While the rest run their routine errands, I and a team of fellow journalists commence a 48-hour mission advocating domestic tourism. A journey of scores of miles starts here with a single step. First destination is Mulanje District, which share borders with Mozambique, about 65 kilometers east of Blantyre city. The evergreen tea fields here systematically sit on the foot of a 3,002 meters Sapitwa Peak, the highest point of the Mulanje Massif. A 45-minute hike takes us to this site, a 60 meters deep pool whose water culminates from sparkling falls of the mountain. Here is one of the country's many tourist attraction sites. It's called Dziwelankalamba in vernacular. There are a number of narratives about this place, myths if you'd call them. The first one suggests that way back there were some ancestral spirits who could be bursting to the sun and that's after some time jump into the waters for some kind of swimming. Others suggest that way back, people with leprosy were brought to this place to be staying far away from the villages, and a number of things spiritual related were happening at this very place. Some few meters down, about a 15-minute walk, we find this cave where lepers were left for death back in the day. A vat of bones outcore it. Despite the myths and the narratives, the Dziwelankalamba Natural Dam with crystal clear waters overflowing down the mountain remains a catchy spot for taking photos. Here with me is Michael Swift. He has walked about 45 minutes from downhill to this place just to appreciate Dziwelankalamba. Firstly, Michael, tell me your experience.
I think that it's a beautiful place. It's basically one of Malawi's gems, and because it's hard to access because it's like in the middle of nowhere, a lot of people don't get to actually appreciate it because they don't know how to find it, or it's hard for them to get here. So they don't get to see the joy that I get to see today. But
COVID-19 pandemic has dwarfed the number of both domestic and foreign tourists to this place. This is according to Juma Tebulo, a local tour guide who has been plying the trade for over half of his life.
Previously, the foreign tourists used to frequent this site. But due to COVID pandemic, things have changed. Of course, foreign tourists come by, but not as regularly. Mostly, nowadays, this site is dominated by domestic tourists.
Descending from the mountain is as exhaustive as hiking. The mission has to continue, and our next destination is Malawi's old capital, Zomba. But we cannot proceed until morning, as our bodies are weary now. Zomba is touted for its cool weather, and such tourist attraction sites as the Williams Falls on Mlunguzi River, engulfed by the Zomba forest on the foot of the Zomba Plateau, adds the value of the beauty. Gazing at such, one would easily conclude that Malawi is endowed with myriad tourist attraction sites. But Malawians seem not to add value and systematically market her tourism sites and have less regard for domestic tourism, as suggests Innocent Mpongolo, a local journalist.
We have a lot of places that are interesting, a lot of places that have stories to tell. But unfortunately, Malawians, we don't patronize those places. We don't even know those places do exist.
A few kilometers out of the Zomba city, we find this Chilema tree, only found here and in India. But we might not spend much time here, because our next and final destination is down the Chikala Hills in Machinga district. About 5 kilometers from the Liwonde and Selema Road at Mpotola Trading Center in traditional authority in Sanama, we find this hidden treasure, some mysterious sandstone formations. Malape pillars they are called, named after a Yao language derived from the Chichewa word kulapa, which means something startling. It's a new day and we continue exploring several tourist attraction sites in the country. Today we find ourselves here in Machinga, specifically at Malape. These caves are not man-made, they are natural caves. And history has it that way back there were some trees here. There was a thick forest all over this place. But as we speak, you can see wanton cutting down of trees has affected the shape of these pillars. The question is, what does the future hold? Kawina Ngopola is chairperson of the area and gives a historic account of the site.
This place used to be called the Church of God because it was a site for prayers for people of various religions. Also, history has it that this place was unreachable because there was a thick forest and the ancestral spirits were inhabiting therein.
All these tourist attraction sites point to one foregone conclusion, that Malawi has what it takes to become top tourist destination.
Well, the mentality of most of the Malawian population is that spending a night at a hotel is regarded as being expensive. But what we say on our department is our sector is so broad. It caters for people of different budgets. So it's just a matter of you having your proper budget and then identify to say, with my 100,000, for example, which is a suitable place for me to go and spend a night. But apart from that, operators are also being encouraged every now and then to have 2 sets of rates for their rooms. One rate for the internationals, as well as another rate for the local residents.
$1 million question remains. What are we doing about it? Remember, this is Business Time. It's a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. We'll be right back, and when we get back, we analyze performance of the tobacco marketing season this far.
Excuse me, madam. Stop billing. I'm taking back all these goods to the shelves.
What's wrong, sir?
Never mind. I have just changed my mind.
Excuse me. I just noticed you returned all the goods you meant to buy. What went wrong?
Some of these products are not originally made here in Malawi.
But these goods have a logo to authenticate them. And we manufacture them ourselves.
Then it means you're not registered with Buy Malawi strategy. This logo here with a tick is not correct.
How?
All products and services registered with Buy Malawi strategy have an original logo approved by government through the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Tourism that really authenticates your product as a Malawian product. Now once you register, your product and service will be recognized as Malawian. Look, we must buy Malawi to build Malawi. You can find out more from Buy Malawi Secretariat or call them on 01 770 244 0993 707 729 or 0999 528 510. You can also simply email info@buymalawi.mw.
Buy Malawi, kondendi kunyadira za Malawi. Tikamagula.
Welcome back. This is Business Time, a magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories that are making headlines in the country. Moving on with the program, it's been 13 weeks since the start of the 2021 tobacco selling season. This Friday, there is an expectation that the Limbi auction floors would be closing. The country has this far raked in about $167 million from sales of various types of tobacco. But the question that still remains is, what does the future hold? This is based on the fact that both volume and input from tobacco has been dwindling in the past years. Our journalist Justin Mkeu has been speaking to some of the farmers to find out what the future holds for tobacco production in the country.
According to figures from AHL Tobacco Sales, the country has realized the revenue from 102 kilograms of tobacco. This is higher than last year, where by week 13, the country realized $129.7 million from 85.4 million kilograms of the sales. Even though the leaf is fetching such foreign exchange for the country, calls for diversification from it gets louder by each passing day. The calls are backed by threats the leaf is facing from the anti-smoking lobby being championed by World Health Organization, WHO. Recently, President Lazarus Chakwera admitted that the leaf can no longer be relied on and the country should focus on other avenues such as mining. At Limbe tobacco auction floors, farmers admit the green gold is not something that can easily lift someone out of poverty these days. Most of them indicate that they are farming because it is the only thing they can do to earn a living rather than just staying. They have since called upon the government to revamp the sector rather than neglecting it in the name of focusing on diversification.
Government should take part to control prices because farming tobacco involves a lot just to be given petty prices, and for now, I am no longer interested in tobacco farming.
Other crops such as soya are important, but we should not neglect tobacco because those who want to farm soya can be doing so while we are also cultivating tobacco.
Government should make sure that good prices should be starting from the first day to the last, and that will motivate farmers to cultivate more tobacco.
Soya kwatuku watulusa anthu avuka kuguno kwambiri kusoya
If we all can cultivate soy, the supply will be higher than demand, hence prices will be lower. Therefore, government should just revamp the tobacco industry. Tobacco Commission TC Chief Executive Officer Joseph Chidanti Malunga said Limbe, which is closing Friday, has performed above expectations. He refutes that the tobacco industry is on its deathbed and agrees with farmers that it only needs revamping.
Lately, we have seen a lot of negative publicity on tobacco, and some of it being orchestrated by organizations in this country that are deliberately misleading people that the tobacco is dying and all that. So we want the media to know that some of these things that they are getting from this organization, it is not correct. The tobacco industry is alive and it will be alive. The issues, of course, the rules of the game have changed. We need to comply with the ESGs, with the issues that the customers want. If they ask us that no child labor, we have to do that. We have to show that our tobacco is produced clean, there is no child labor. But to suggest that the tobacco is dying and therefore let's do diversification is okay. We are not saying no to diversification. But what is happening to tobacco should not be a justification for diversification. If you want to diversify, you can go ahead and diversify, but you don't have to be mentioning tobacco. So we believe that those organizations that are parading diversification, because the tobacco is doing this, that, we think it is not diversification. Basically, it is a way of trying to kill tobacco. So this is what we are against. We are very, it is very sad that the actual organizations are doing that for their own country. Yes, first of all, let me agree with you that this message that is being misconstrued, that tobacco is dying and therefore look for other things. This has gone to our growers, and we will keep receiving phone calls every day or asking us whether they should go ahead to grow tobacco this year or not. So what we are saying is that those are misguided people. What they are saying, we believe that they don't know. They have their own agenda, probably not diversification. So in as far as registration is concerned, now we have started registration. We want to go out and tell our growers that this year tobacco season is going to be much better than last year. Coming from a vibrant season, as you know, that the prices have been better this year than last year, okay, we had problems with the volumes, but definitely we are going to sort out the issues of volumes this year, probably better prices as well, and registration is going on in all our 4 centers in Limbe, Kanengo, Chinkoma, and in Zuzu. So where we are, we want to encourage growers to go out in large numbers and register in the coming going season. Well, I think it is part of the compliance issues. The customers that buy our tobacco, first of all, you have to know that 80% of our tobacco is bought by people that don't live in this country. They live very far in Europe, in America, and in those countries, they impose rules that if you want to export any product in those countries, you have to satisfy certain rules. And one of those rules is to make sure that you don't produce that product using tenancy. So we were very happy that there was a law that was being paraded in Parliament to actually remove tenancy, because then it means we are complying with what our customers are looking for. Because what we want is to make sure that we comply with what they want so that we still remain. And in fact, if we do, we are going to remain as the tobacco industry probably forever.
Tobacco is Malawi's main export earner, but experts argue the dependency on it has failed to lift the country out of poverty.
Now, in other business news, in the past week, there's been spate of violence and demonstrations in South Africa, a thing that could have a negative effect on the local economy as the country remains Malawi's main trading partner. Our journalist, Yamigan Kajaje, has been speaking to some local officials to find out the magnitude of the effect of the violence to the local economy.
International media reports were last week awash with images of South African irate protesters looting some shops. The violence was in protest of the arrest of the country's former president, Jacob Zuma. The unrest would have a significant impact not only on the country, but other regional economies, including Malawi, which is South Africa's key trading partner. Local logistics firm Fortress Business and Logistics Consultants says the impact would be huge. Its chief executive officer is Carl Chokoto.
We take our imports or exports, some of it actually goes through South Africa, and particularly the port of Durban, where the riots have been rampant. Obviously cargo that is coming in, people bringing in imports or taking out exports, that has an effect. And in some of the routes for the lines, the shipping lines that operate out of Malawi, some of them also use Durban as a transshipment port. Some of that cargo is actually being affected, largely in terms of delays. Already, I think for some of the commodities that may be transported weekly, especially things like perishables, you may find that if you go into the supermarkets, certain things are not there. So that obviously is something that may not be so obvious now, but over time it would become more apparent. From the International Trade Center data, it suggests that 21% of Malawi's imports actually comes from South Africa, and 6% of our exports actually is destined for South Africa. So, being a major trading partner, a significant trading partner, that also would be affected.
Economist from Malawi University of Business and Applied Sciences, Bechani Chereni, adds that if left unchecked, such trends will have serious consequences on the economy.
A lot of our exports, they are destined to South Africa, and a lot of our imports, they are from South Africa. South Africa is a big, huge provider of so many services, be it insurance services, financial services, and many other services that we can think about, a lot of them. Many of the companies that we have, for example, in Malawi, Zimbabwe, Zambia, they are headquartered in South Africa. You've got a lot of malls, motor vehicle people, banks, a lot of them, they are actually headquartered in South Africa. To the extent that when things are happening in South Africa, they get to affect us here, both politically, economically, and socially. And with the riots that have just, or that are still taking place in South Africa now, what it means is that the supply chains of products, both exports and imports, and supply chains of services, they have been disrupted. And that's huge, that's big. For countries like Malawi, countries which are predominantly importing, we depend a lot from goods from South Africa. So cutting those supplies, what it means is that we are going to experience maybe price hikes even. We can experience that, because if the supplies are lower, what it means is that people are going to be scrambling for the little that's going to be on the market.
In a recent interview, Ministry of Trade spokesperson Mayesom Sogera said the Malawi government is still monitoring the situation to conclusively determine the extent to which the riots could disrupt the supply of goods to the country. He added that, should the situation continue to deteriorate, the ministry would encourage international traders and transporters to consider alternative routes and ports in other neighboring countries. Malawi remains a predominantly importing nation.
Well, that story also brings us to the end of today's edition of the program Business Time, your magazine program where we bring you major business and economic news stories making headlines in the country. On behalf of the entire production team, my name is William Kumwembe. Always remember, if it doesn't make money, then it doesn't make sense. Stay safe and bye for now.